How's it going, everyone? Today's topic will be this week's Grandmaster Nightfall of Devil's Lair, located on the Cosmodrome. We'll be focusing this week's Grandmaster as an Arc Hunter. To start with, let's go over the build we'll be using. This week we'll be using the Wishender Exotic Bow. It has intrinsic anti-barrier. It's also fantastic to deal with a walker. As I do have a video on my channel also that shows you a nice cheese spot to use the Wishender to take out all the legs of the walker, so go and check that out. But to get back to our build, we have the Lair's Handshake, which will pair up with our melee combination blow and our class ability Gambler's Dodge. So with this, we'll be using our melee as much as we can in close range combat, and then whenever we need to get our melee back, we'll then use Gambler's Dodge, our class ability, to refresh our melee and cycle that over and over. As long as you're meleeing with Lair's Handshake, then you'll be getting health back. So just make sure if you're ever in a tight situation, spam your melee button. If you don't have your actual melee ability, then use your normal melee. That'll give you health back. Just Lair's Handshake is very good for survivability, as you don't really have any stealth or any other way of healing, besides maybe a Warlock Spell or a Healing Circle. So with this build, you have the strength of staying back and shooting your Wishender, or using your linear for distance, and in close combat, you're really strong with your exotic armor. So use both strengths as you need to, so whatever situation you get into, this will help out. So let's pick up where we are right now. So currently we went down far left side, all the way straight down. You can kill the first overload if you want to. If you miss it, it's okay, you can still get platinum. You're gonna deal with another barrier in the hallway, a second overload, and then another barrier. So these will be pretty simple ones, just they're by themselves. As a team, take them out, no problem. The big threat is gonna be in this room, where you're gonna have a bunch of mobs all over the place. So you wanna kind of split up, I would say. One person take the right, one person take the middle, one person take the left. And kind of knife out all the red bars, then focus the overload together. As you don't wanna go in there guns blazing with any your super or anything. So I'd make sure you just rush in whenever you're ready with your melees and just stun everything as you need to, as you are kind of a stunning, jolting machine with your Gambler Dodge. So make sure, as a team, finish off the last overload, and then you can get into the actual waves event. There's nothing forcing you to kind of start the event early, as you have to kind of choose when that happens. So whenever your team is ready, use your ghost on the center console. It'll start the hacking event. And then your team's going to want to come to the left here. You can either sit on top of the truck, or you can sit at the very end of the truck, is my best recommendation. Some mobs will spawn at the end of the truck there, but if you're at the very end, none of the knights will come up to you. They'll stand close, but they won't attack you. So just make sure you're in this corner, everyone's all together. Don't try to go out by yourself and be the hero. Just sit back with the team, shoot everything in a good spot, sit in a well, use your Wishender and your linear if you want to, and then whenever you can, just take out a bunch of waves. So it's just going to be a bunch of waves back to back. You will have multiple overloads coming at you, so as long as you have your trace rifle ready or grenade ready, or if you dodge and then use your combination blow, you'll be in a good spot. So I'll go ahead and speed this up as we get through this, and then we'll get on to the next zone. The biggest threats here are going to be the exploding shanks here, and then on the right side you're going to have 2 wizards spawn and 2 knights spawn, along with a bunch of thrashers. So you'll be very careful if you see nothing spawning on the left side, or you only see like a few mobs. You be careful on the right side, because they're going to be spawning a whole bunch. So when the first thrashers come in, just start meleeing as much as you can. Hide in the back, because you're going to have a bunch of knights show up and wizards, along with a barrier champion and some overloads. So you gotta make sure as a team you're all spread out. As long as you're in the back, you should be able to hide from all the snipers up top. But again, take your time, don't rush anything, stay as a team. You're just kill waves and waves of targets. So just kind of use all your weaponry you have, because you'll have plenty of time to get all your super and all that stuff back up where you need it later. As in the next zone, you're just gonna be sitting back and just blowing things up as you go. So this will be a pretty smooth one as long as you sit back, take your time, relax, put on some music, enjoy yourself, work as a team, and then don't go aggressive and try to punch punch one of those exploding shanks, as you will just end up like me there. Soon after you kill all the champions and all the red mobs, you will then be able to complete your objective. You can then walk around and grab every ammo. There's no rush again. As your team's ready, just move on to the next zone. The next zone is one of the biggest threats, I would say. The last boss actually is pretty easy as long as you work as a team and sit in a corner, hold a bunker down. The next zone Can be very dangerous as there's a lot of mechs around. There's a walker, so I found a few positions here that can help you out. But again, as a team, take out everything together. So champions together and move together, as it is a team game and your fire team is on your side. You're going to have one barrier champion up here at the front, and then you're going to have some snipers shooting at you from the side. Your priority is to take out the barrier and then also get the snipers on the right side. I would not recommend going on the right side at all, as the right side seems to be pretty kind of sketchy with a lot of mobs showing up. So take out the snipers, that way your team can get healthy, grab some ammo, and then I would work your way to the left side. As on the left side, you're going to have less mines, less red bars. You'll have one mech that'll show up, so really not that big of a threat. You guys can sit over here, and then there's kind of a nice little cheese spot over here I like to sit at. So if you have a Wish Ender or anything long range, you can sit back here, as the walker wasn't really in the best zone this time, but usually it's a little more to the right where you can see all of his legs. But you can just sit back here and shoot through all 3 legs, as you have a Wish Ender, which is going to pierce through all zones. So you can get 3 legs at like crit damage on all of them and just blow it up. So I would say use everything you got here, just blow up all the mechs, and then just sit back and take care of the walkers, as that's kind of the safest way to do it. You don't want to waste a lot of res or like revives here, as your team you'll see some of my teammates are running forward, and you'll see some of them die to getting too overwhelmed. But again, sit back, take care of the walker first, then focus on the champions. There's a lot of overloads. There's a lot of overloads paired up with barriers, so they're kind of hard to deal with. And it seems that Bungie really likes servitors this season, so everything's immune, which is very frustrating. Once the walker's taken care of, you can then freely shoot any red bar, anything farther. There's no reason to go anywhere forward. Wish Ender has no fall off damage, so you can kind of just shoot everything as long as you can. As long as you can see it, you can get it. And the perk of the aim down with the Wish Ender is if you hold it down just a little longer, you'll see through the walls for a slight glimpse, so you can know where everything is. But take your time. There's no reason to rush anywhere. Your team can just, if you have your whole team behind you here with Wish Enders, you can just literally blow everything up here. So everything's going to group up top. You can take care of all the barriers, all the overloads, everything will spawn. Just keep killing red bars until the door opens, and then finish up champions, and then you can just continue forward. So now that you've killed all the champions you need, you're going to have a few more chances with the boss, a lot of overloads, so just make sure you have your trace rifle ready, grenades ready. You're going to have 2 to start with right here at the beginning. They can really mess you up if you're not careful, so make sure if you have this room in the back left corner you can hide in. I would say if you have an angle on boss or angle on champions, sit in that room as much as you can. If you don't feel comfortable anywhere else out there, just stay in that room, hide out until you're ready. If you don't know what mobs are spawning or anything, go back in the room, setting a healing rift, whatever you need to, and then whenever you're ready, come out. The place I'm going to sit into a lot is the hunter, is in that little hallway to the left to make sure none of the mobs come into the room, as I can sit there and melee them often, so I want them to kind of run at me so I can melee and get my combination blow up, because again, the more melee kills you get, the more ult charge you get, and you want to make sure you get that ult and you want to throw it at the boss. Not necessarily at the middle minions that spawn with the boss that makes the boss immune, but mainly focusing on doing the super on the boss. But I think one of these things, I think I whiff really badly with my first spear, so please don't judge me that bad in the comments below. But if you do, go ahead and make fun of me in the comments, because I think I whiff it really hard. But your main job as the hunter, I would say, is to hold down the fort. Don't let anything else get into you. Focus the champions. Let your warlock have their super up all the time, just nuking the boss and such. Yeah, and there it is. Oh man, that was the worst super I think anyone's ever seen. And we're just gonna let that go. So, whatever you don't know, or there's too many mobs around, back up in the room. This boss is super easy. You just take out the mini bosses and then focus the elites, and then you'll be in a good spot. Again, if anything gets a little messy, always use your combination blow. Just run up and just punch, punch, punch. That'll keep you alive. It's just a big heal over and over. It's like picking up one of those orbs with the recuperate mod. So just make sure you dodge, punch, 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 and you'll be fine. The only threat is after the mini bosses are down, is the bosses could punch you in the face a few times, but if, as long as you have 2 supers or 1 super ready to go, you should be able to just punish the boss. So I'll go ahead and let this boss fight play out. I did want to say a few things about I really appreciate all the support, like and subscribe. You guys are really helping me out a lot. Put in comments below any suggestions or recommendations if this was helpful or didn't really give any information or anything, please let me know. I always like the feedback to know if I'm doing good or if I'm just wasting people's time. I want to make sure I'm doing some kind of benefit here. But I do stream on twitch.tv/SaskTheBigPrime. And as always, as this concludes, I hope you have a fantastic day.